Getting bounced in the first round of March Madness sucks, but that means we're moving on to football season, and we kick that off now with the breakdown of our Alumni Game rosters. Welcome to Saturday's Warrior. I'm Trevor, and on this channel we talk all things BYU, Big 12. We do a lot of conference realignment, and I know that all of us BYU fans are still reeling from that very disappointing way to end the season in the first round loss, another first round loss, and this time being upset by Duquesne, a school whose name almost nobody could pronounce until recently. So very disappointing, very hard to accept that, and at some point soon we'll get to doing some videos breaking down rosters and potential way forward for the team going into next season, a post-mortem, if you will. But today, we just kind of want to put that aside, compartmentalize those feelings, I suppose, and push it aside and focus on the good things we have going on right now, and that is the Alumni Game. Now, this was supposed to be a kind of a little fun event to hold us over between the first round and the second round of the tournament. However, now we get to focus a little more fully on football and set our sights on that, which is in some ways disappointing because the football team is the one that has struggled and let us down, whereas the basketball has overperformed. At least me personally, I would have expected to see a little bit more of the BYU's football team outperforming expectations and the basketball team really floundering. Instead, it was the other way around. So we're hoping to move on to football season, and hopefully that they can right the ship a little bit and we can see some improvement in year two. But the Alumni Game tonight is not really about that. This is focusing on all those players who have come before, who we've really enjoyed watching and celebrating them and just having a good time. And an Alumni Game may not sound like that much fun, but I've been really impressed. I've had a ton of fun with it the past 2 years. I think they've set it up really well, and I think it's been very benefited by the certain people, namely Max Hall, coming in and really taking the game seriously. And I don't mean seriously in the fact that, like, they want to go out there, win at any measure and being really disappointed by the loss. They're still having fun with it, but taking it seriously to the point where they come in with a game plan and they want to go try and they're not just messing around. Because if they're just, being goofballs, that's lame. But when it actually became competitive and teams were trying and it comes down to the last play, some exciting plays, that makes a ton of fun for the fans and I'm sure for the players too, to yes, get together, but also relive some of their glory days together, and we get to enjoy and watch that. So I'm looking forward to tonight and watching that and just kind of forgetting about basketball for a minute, and hopefully we can all do that. But today I want to quickly go through the rosters and what I would expect and who I think will come out ahead. Now, obviously, I support both teams, all BYU fans or players and alum and people that I've enjoyed watching over the years, which is why I'm wearing both royal and blue or navy to support both sides. I'm not picking, but in terms of which roster I would take. So let's hop over and take a look at both rosters. All right, so I'm pulling up the Instagram post here where they announced the rosters, and you see this is... All right, so I pulled up the Instagram post here where they announced the rosters, and obviously headlining this are the quarterbacks, and that was big news, bringing back both Jake Heaps and Riley Nelson. Famously, Heaps was the starter. He was supposed to be the guy, big-time recruit, I believe 4-star recruit coming out of high school, and then he ended up being replaced by Nelson and ended up transferring. So I think it's great that he's coming back. One thing I was always impressed with Heaps and the way that he handled being benched. He always seemed very professional, very supportive of his guys, very engaged. He could have easily just kind of withdrawn, and so I always really like that. So I'm glad to have him back. And then Riley Nelson, who obviously was the hero. I was actually at the game where they pulled Heaps and they put in Nelson against Utah State, and he came out with that miraculous last second touchdown catch to win the game. Super exciting, very fun, and obviously kind of became a little bit of a legend because of that. Now, he was never maybe the going to get us over the hump, but he was very much a beloved quarterback for his toughness and his grit and how exciting he was to watch, and a little bit of a precursor to Taysom Hill. So I appreciate both of these guys. And a little. All right, so I've pulled up the Instagram post where they announced the rosters. And first of all, obviously, this is going to be headlined by the quarterbacks, always the face of the program, but I think even more important in a game like the Alumni Game, and I'll get to that. But very interesting that it's headlined by Jake Heaps and Riley Nelson, because famously, Heaps who was supposed to be the heir apparent at the quarterback position for BYU. He was a big-time recruit, I think a 4-star coming out of high school, and then eventually was benched for Nelson. And I was actually, even though I was already graduated, I was actually at that game. I'd been down in Provo and scored a ticket and went, and it was super exciting. Obviously, Nelson had that crazy touchdown pass at the end of the game to come back from behind to beat Utah State, which was a lot of fun. But quick aside, BYU stormed the field for that, and I am adamantly opposed to that. You were playing Utah State. You were supposed to win those games, and it was a comeback from behind type of win that was super exciting, yes, but we should have never been in that position, and certainly did not warrant a field storming. So I was very opposed to that. So I missed my chance to storm the field right there. I was kind of against that, and I snuck out. But super exciting, great win. And in terms of Jake Heaps, yeah, he got benched, but I was always really impressed with the professional way which he handled being benched. He always stayed engaged and very positive. And then Nelson, obviously, for his toughness and grit. And, maybe he wasn't ever going to be the best quarterback that we had, but he filled that gap and held that role until Taysom Hill. And in some ways, a kind of similar style to Taysom Hill, and until he himself, because of injury and stuff, was benched for Taysom. So appreciate both of those guys, and I think it's really exciting to have them. And then furthermore, you got Lark there on the bench who overlapped with them. So very interesting quarterback situation there. But let's take a look at the full roster. So here we've got Team Royal and Team Navy, and obviously Max Hall back again. I think it's no secret that he loves these games, that he's super into them. He comes in with game plans, and he takes it seriously to an extent. And so I really like Team Navy's chance, partially because of that, and then I think because of his intensity and because of the way that the games have played out the past couple years. I think Team Royal will take it seriously. I think everybody's going to come in and want to have fun with it, but I think Max Hall has that edge. Having said that, I know that Riley Nelson, I feel like he's kind of wired similarly, and he seems like the kind of guy who's probably still training and probably still thinks he could go in and win some games at the collegiate level. And so I think he will, and having that that mobility, I think that will lend itself well to Riley Nelson, getting out of the pocket, whatever, and just playing backyard football, which is what they talk about. So I think that will bode well for him. But then Jake Heaps, a little bit more of a pocket passer. He's got that arm. He has at least, theoretically, a little more accuracy. I don't know what kind of shape he stayed in terms of playing football, but I also think that these games, as much fun as they are to see all these players come back, it's really going to be about the quarterbacks and the receivers. And I think Jake Heaps, his accuracy is a bit better, and I don't know how much is really going to be pushed out of the pocket or be made to feel uncomfortable. So if it's just some deep throws to some guys, I think he could actually be in there and compete, especially with some of these guys that he'll have to throw it to. So again, I'm really focused. I mean, there's great guys all up and down both of these rosters. Defense, they're somewhat limited. It's really going to be more about the safeties, who can keep up with the receivers. And then even then, I think it's mostly just about who's going to be completing a lot of these passes. And when I look at this on Max Hall's team, when he's bringing back Austin Collie and Dennis Pitta, I just think, well, if these guys, they seem to just kind of show up and have fun with it the past couple years. But if these guys are going to actually be in and play with Max, I could see them doing some damage there. And then look at these other receivers. I mean, you have Cody Hoffman. I mean, that should almost be enough right there. And Mitch Matthews, who was a fringe NFL player not that long ago, trying to make some rosters. So I don't know. Just looking at this, there's other guys. I mean, yeah, you got Hefo, but Neil Powell, but I just think that Team Navy has a bit more firepower. All right, so who do you expect to win the Alumni Game tonight? And beside that, what do you expect to see and what do you want to see and what do you enjoy most about these Alumni Games? Let me know all that in the comments below, and also give us a like, and please be sure to subscribe to the channel so that as we do get closer to the football season and also as we continue to do our basketball breakdown and look forward to next season, that you can catch all those videos. And as always, go Cougs!